Hello. Thank you for checking out A1 Math, and today we're looking at how to solve a system of linear equations using the elimination method. So the first thing I want to do is go over the steps. Step 1, you want to add or subtract the equations to eliminate the variable. Step 2, solve the resulting equation for the other variable. Step 3, substitute the variable or substitute the value for the known variable into one of the original equations. And step 4, solve for the other variable. So let's take a look at a few examples. So what we want to do is solve this system of linear equations using the elimination method. So let's take a look. Well, we've got 2x plus 5y is equal to negative 24, and 3x minus 5y is equal to 14. So remember, our first step is to add and subtract the equations to eliminate the variable. So we can add or subtract here. When we add this just like it is, what's going to happen is the 5y is going to eliminate. So let's show you. So now I have 2x plus 3x, it's going to give me 5x. And 5y plus a negative 5y is going to be 0. And negative 24 plus positive 14 is going to be negative 10. Alright, so that's just going to leave me 5x equal to negative 10. So I can go ahead and divide by 5. And that's going to leave me with x is equal to a negative 2. Alright, so now we did those first two steps. We subtracted and we've solved, so now we can figure out what x is. Now we're going to take this x and plug it into this equation here. So that's going to leave me with, that's 2x. I'm going to make that x red so you can see the substitution. Plus 5y is equal to negative 24. And we'll have 2 times the x, which is negative 2, plus 5y equals negative 24. So we're replacing the x with negative 2. And then we just go ahead and solve the equation for y. So 2 times negative 2 is going to get us negative 4. And now we'll go ahead and add 4 on both sides. That leaves us with 5y is equal to negative 20. And then we divide by 5. And y is equal to negative 4. So now we have x and we have y. So we have enough for our coordinate. And that's going to be x, negative 2, comma, negative 4. Okay. So this is the elimination method. We eliminated one of the variables, solved for the remaining variable, took it and plugged it back in, and then solve for the other variable. All right, let's take a look at another one. Okay, so this one's slightly different, but it's going to be pretty much the same thing here. Now, Notice how if we was to add just like this, that it wouldn't eliminate any of our variables. You got to make sure something is eliminated in order to use the elimination method. So we can change the equation and make one of these variables here become negative. And that way the 2y and the variable we changed, this negative 2y, will eliminate and become 0. So to do that, what I'm going to do is multiply the whole equation by negative 1. Okay, and once I multiply by negative 1, that's going to change this 2y to negative 2y and allow me to eliminate. So I'm going to go ahead and rewrite the first equation just like it was. And now I'm going to multiply negative 1 times x here, and that's going to give me negative x. Negative 1 times 2y would be negative 2y. And negative 1 times negative 1 would be positive 2. I'm sorry, positive 1. Okay, so the next thing we want to do is go ahead and go through our steps now that we have something here that we can eliminate. So we go ahead and add these together and eliminate one of our variables. So I'm going to go ahead and add this here. And 3x plus a negative x will be 2x. 2y plus negative 2y is 0. 0 we wanted to get. And then 5 plus 1 is 6. Now we'll go ahead and solve for x here and divide by 2. And x is equal to 3. Okay, and now we're going to take this x equal 3 and plug it back in to either one of our equations here. So I'm going to plug it into this one, and I'm going to use the original one the way it was. So that's going to be x plus 2y is equal to negative 1. So that x is what I'm going to plug in. And I'm going to plug in 3. Now I'm going to go ahead and subtract that 3 on both sides. That's going to leave me with 2y is equal to negative 4. Then divide by 2. Y is equal to negative 2. Alright, now I've got my 2 points. My x is 3. Or I should say my coordinates here. X is 3, y is negative 2. And that's my solution. Now, sometimes it don't always come out perfectly. We've learned in previous lessons that you can have a system of equations where you have infinite amount of solutions or no solution whatsoever. So let's take a look at how that looks in the elimination method. All right, so here we are here. We're going to go ahead and try to follow the steps, the same steps we've been doing. We're going to either add or subtract, and then we're going to solve for that variable, then substitute that variable, and then solve for the other variable. So here, we're going to subtract, and I've got to change this from a negative y to a positive y. That way, when I add, it'll eliminate. So I'm going to multiply this bottom equation by -1. All right. So I'm going to rewrite this first equation. That's going to be 4x minus y is equal to 3. And then write my new equation that I'm changing here. That's going to be negative 4x plus y is equal to 2. Now, if you was thinking about the 4x and the negative 4xx and changing that, that could work too. But either way, you're going to end up with something different here. When you get ready to add, that's become 0, and this becomes 0. And you end up with 0 is equal to 5, which is not true. So when that happens, it's going to be no solution. Okay, let's take a look at another example. Okay, I could already see that when I get ready to add this, it's going to go ahead and cancel out, so I don't need to multiply by -1. So I'm just going to go ahead and multiply, or I'm sorry, add. So x plus negative x is going to be 0. Negative 6y plus 6y is going to be 0. And then 7 plus negative 7 is also going to be 0. So that's going to end up being 0 is equal to 0. That's true. All right. So if you get a true statement like that and both of your variables are gone, that's going to be infinite many solutions. So those are two special case system of equations where you get a no solution and an infinite many solutions, but with the elimination method. So don't forget, your steps for using the elimination method: add or subtract the equation to eliminate one variable, solve the resulting equation for the other variable, then substitute that value for the known variable into one of the original equations, and then solve for the other variable. Okay, so that's using the elimination method in the system of linear equations. I want to thank you for checking out A1 Math, and have a nice day.